I'd like to welcome you to our next podcast. Here I have Justin Oakley from Oakley Home Access. Now, what we have here is we have an occupational therapist who been out there doing the occupational therapy business and then saw an opportunity, and that opportunity had to do with kind of improving people's quality of life while living in home, improving their access to various places in their home. And so, Justin, if you can kind of tell me your story as how you got here. Now, as I mentioned on our introduction call when we first met, I'm a physical therapist by training, so we're kindred spirits to some degree here. How did you get from putting your hands on people to setting up modifications in one's home?
Yes, that's an incredible question. Thank you. And Sean, thank you so much for having me on your show to help kind of educate the folks a little about what we do. Yeah, so Oakley Home Access, full service home modification company. It's a lot of accessibility equipment. The end result is doing just that. Like you mentioned, Sean, improving access and quality of life for folks' homes. Grab bars, handrails, railings, stair lifts, ramps, elevators, a wide variety of equipment options for folks to age in place. The origin story is, it started clinically. Yes. Sean, as you mentioned, I was working in a skilled nursing facility as an occupational therapist, and gosh, we'd work very closely with all the other disciplines. Physical therapists I was very close with. We'd work very closely with PT, with speech, with the doctors, with the nursing staff and social service to try to develop a discharge plan. The end result, the goal was always to get folks home, whether they landed under our care because of an illness, an injury, some type of a setback. The goal was to get them stronger, get them conditioned, and get them back home. We got really good at making recommendations. We would provide home evaluations where we would take the folks home and say, hey, this is a trial run. Let's see how you would do if you needed to get in and out of the up and down from the toilet right now, in and out of the shower. And we got really good at identifying problem areas.
Right.
And then with a lot of research, I got really good at giving options for folks of, hey, there's grab bars that exist that could go here. Handrails exist. There's ramps. And it wasn't about a year into doing this and getting really polished at the evaluation portion where I went to my social service director and I asked her, quite frankly, I said, what happens with all these recommendations, all these beautiful reports that I hand out to every department? The answer was, we kind of hope they have someone handy in their family. And we just took that as a real disservice. So we also, my partner and my now longtime partner and I also saw that as an opportunity. I reached out to him. He is Michael Vieira. He is the construction expert in our organization. So I knew that I was able to talk about it, and folks like you, Sean, could recommend things, identify problems, but it was that next step of doing it, executing it, installing everything. I reached out to him knowing he was the handiest person in my network, the go-to for everything since we were kids. And, I told him, hey, we have this opportunity in the community where, and I said, I like how you said, Sean, going from handling folks and touching and helping people that way. I said, Michael, the market is on my lap. Literally, it was on my lap. And squat pivots for a nasty CVA. And they're doing squat pivot transfers, and they're reaching to a grab bar to get onto that toilet from the wheelchair. And from then on, that grab bar was everything for me. That was their ticket home. It was how they were going to get home. The home help could deal with brushing their teeth and getting all that. Like, I was just transfers. Point A to B, get them in the house, get them in their bathroom, get them in their bed. So things like that really started to prioritize for me. And, you fast forward 10 years, we have a showroom that demonstrates the wide variety of things that we've discovered and incorporate into folks' homes. And we haven't invented anything yet, but we've discovered hundreds of items that commonly can be incorporated in folks' homes to do just what you mentioned. Increase quality of life. We're maximizing their mobility. We're helping with fall prevention, and we're increasing the ability to age in place and increasing accessibility. So oftentimes simple stuff goes a long way, but plenty of times there's more, let's say, more high-tech solutions that can help folks. And we do it all now. And I'm happy to be on this show to be able to share more about it.
And so, Justin, you are in Rhode Island, in Massachusetts, and Connecticut. You've been able to build this brand from two guys with a great idea. I mean, how did you draw the attention, the business? I mean, what kind of things did you do to get the word out broadly of this really valuable thing? I mean, my father-in-law passed away about a month or so ago, and he was 95 years old, and he was able to stay at home till the very end, and that's what he really wanted. And if we didn't have the ability to make modifications, there's just no way that he could do it. There's just no way. And so, I mean, the quality of the life that you can provide for people is phenomenal, and you've done really well. But how did you get the word out?
Well, I appreciate the question, and my condolences to your loss. You know, we're working with folks every day that are in challenging situations. It's that sandwich generation, that taking care of their kids and grandkids, but also their elderly loved ones. That is a tough part of our job. How we got started the word out, you know, right when we came up with the idea, I thought once I shared it once on social media that the phone would just not stop ringing because of this incredible creation, right? However, it took time because of the trust factor. And I think because of how intimate folks' homes are, both ends of our industry. The homes and the construction end is sensitive, and then healthcare. So, and folks going through medical procedures and things, it's sensitive. So what I saw was I was working in one skilled nursing facility that had a lot of patients that I could help at home. I found out that there was 85 others in the state that provided the same service in tiny Rhode Island. So that inspired me and motivated us to reach out to all of them. And we created very simple literature and screamed from the rooftops that there was a company that had an occupational therapist and a construction expert. There was a free assessment, free home safety assessment, no obligation, and it would range from grab bars, stair lifts, ramps. That was the 3 pillars to start. And it took time. Oftentimes it was when therapists had a loved one that they were like, I have someone. And then they trusted us with their loved one. And then they said, wow, what a difference. What an incredible experience. Let's get you in the discharge paperwork for all of our patients. So one by one with these nurses, and then education, Sean, like your outlet is providing, in-services. I would crave in-services. I knew as a clinician at lunch, oftentimes a sales rep or a representative from some organization came and educated us therapists. And we were documenting sometimes and eating our lunch, but they had our attention. And I knew that was the way to get in. So we would do information drops, and we would try the best we could to offer and execute in-services. Those in-services, we were able to spend half hour to an hour and educate all about the process of how simple of a method we created or a protocol that we created, process to work with us, and the different types of products that existed that we could incorporate. So it was a journey, a lot of networking meetings, Chamber of Commerce meetings, a lot of hustle. Google, the website was very important because anytime, Sean, if I'm going to give you my information and you're going to give it to Mrs. Smith, I want you to say, Mrs. Smith, don't take my word for it. Check out their website. Check out their Google reviews. See what the people are saying. And that took time to build.
It does take.
We fast forward 10 years and we've got 137 5-star reviews on Google. People pour out the gratitude they have on those reviews. And we thank all of our referrals. We drop off cookies and tape measures and pens and simple gestures of thought and gratitude to all the rehab facilities. And the opportunity in the market was just endless, because then you move on from skilled nursing facilities and you've got how many hospitals are in the state? How many home care companies? Home care, and then home health. Home health is they hire you and me. Home care, CNAs, nursing, also very important. So the settings just got, the outpatient settings, the settings just started to multiply. And then you go to the other end of things, the more general population, not as much healthcare, the senior centers in Rhode Island. In Massachusetts, they call them councils on aging. So wide varieties of opportunities to meet folks and to share our story and to share our offering. But it's really that healthcare relationship piece that was everything.
Very good. And you know, Justin, you're a very dynamic personality. So, I mean, are you like the front man for everything? Or you do lead those charges? Because it sounds like there's a lot of PR involved, a lot of handshaking, interaction. Do you have others besides yourself, or is it mostly you leading the charge?
No, so I love engaging this way. At least a couple times a week I'm on a podcast of this nature, radio, TV spots, things like that, to educate and scream from the rooftops. Guest speaking opportunities at Johnson & Wales last week I had the opportunity to speak at. Anywhere that has an OT or a PT or even nursing school, I like to engage with. I'll do some of those very high level in-services at hospitals and in rehab centers.
Okay.
Now, those networking groups and events and healthcare conferences and wellness fairs. We have 2 outreach representatives that are full-time that are out there screaming from the rooftops, the Oakley Home Access brand, all day, every day. So they've taken our marketing strategy and run with it. They can now reach far more people and organizations than I can myself. And they're out there doing it all day, every day. I still like to have myself involved in the home evaluations on a small scale. As an organization, we do anywhere from 10 to 12 home evaluations a day to start the process. And I'd like to do personally 1 a day or so to get myself out there and be fresh in the community. So we have 3 OTs that are out there doing what we've created and what we've paved the way for. So that's my goal on a day-to-day basis, and my role is still to lead the charge on kind of an inspirational way and to find all the different outlets and collaborate with my outreach team to best spread awareness about Oakley Home Access. And we meet every Monday to go over everyone new that we met and who made the phone ring. Meaning we count all the leads, but it's not really Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Jones. It's Sean Kirk, the Memorial Hospital, made the phone ring. So it's him that we're talking about and we're engaging with. Oh, well, I heard Memorial's opening up another hospital. We have outreach there and all that. So it facilitates a lot of collaboration.
Good. So I can see like your many efforts are taking place to actually bring in that new business. But I would imagine, just like, as a physical therapist, I'll tell you, you reach a certain age in life where, like your little black book has names mostly ending in MD, right? And so, you are the best consumer of healthcare services because possibly you've had a fair amount over your lifetime. And you can judge great care. You're just a number to me. It's pretty obvious that you can see the difference. And so, and like physical therapy businesses, about 50% of the time, the patients that you're treating now, you've seen in years past, right? They come back, and they stay connected. And so I'm just wondering, because you might be dealing with someone who's taking care of a parent, but they probably have friends who are also at that stage or paying attention carefully to how you're handling that friend's mom or dad, and then be picking this guy's brain of like, what do you think of these guys, right? So how's the internal kind of marketing energy efforts going? Because I think that's a gold mine, and not only a gold mine, it provides a lot of very valuable service.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's that word of mouth piece is something that we highlight a lot. So that's considered a referral source for us, is word of mouth, and then we love that contact's name. So the way you alluded to, what you mentioned in setting up that question was great. It's really twofold. The one is the repeat customer, that gateway type help that we provide, and the time sensitive, time relative stuff. So for instance, the stairs. Oftentimes we get really excited about handrails for folks, and when they're being proactive and they're looking for something to hold on to because we see the fingerprints on the wall, and that helps them for years. And then there may be a setback and they call us and say, wow, I love those handrails. Look at all the marks on those handrails. I've been using them, but I had a setback. I broke my leg. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the stairs again. Well, then we can take the next step, and that return customer, it's not a one-time see you later, we helped you. It's okay, now what? Let's reassess the situation. Sometimes in those situations, a stair lift is now the more relevant piece of equipment, and it's a free ride up the stairs.
Okay, correct. We dealt with that too with my father-in-law. It's like he lost the whole floor of his home. He just couldn't do it. It was way too risky, and there'd have to be a really big reason to take those stairs. And the chairlift made a massive difference for a number of years.
And yes, and then we've gone so far as you had mentioned, the adult child, and then it's the adult child helping their parent, and then the adult child is thinking of friends of theirs and their peers. We'll even keep it closer and more intimate than that. We help adult children, and then sometimes within weeks and months, they have a setback, and they'll say, wow, well, you helped mom a lot. Now it's me. I need my hip done. Or during the assessment, Sean, they'll say, yeah, I know, my mom, this is aging in place. She's at a lot. She's in a wheelchair. Transfers are challenging. And then they'll say, well, gosh, all this stuff you're doing there, I got to bring you to my house. I'm having a knee surgery. I'm having a partial knee next month. And then we do their house, and it's similar things. And there might be a 30-year age gap. but
Right.
they're still being helped by the same things. And then we say, hey, you're going to use this grab bar for the next 30 years living here.
That's
And they don't
perfect.
feel old then, where they feel like, hey, you got a lot, I want you to use this for a long time, you know?
That is very good. I could see how that is. Just in terms of the quality of life it had for my father-in-law. I am a physical therapist. I've seen things, and I definitely understand the value you bring. But just looking at when you look at just the healthcare burden of
Yes.
just not having to go into assisted living or nursing home, and could, with some CNAs just here and there, be able to live a life at home. Family was close by, daughter lived right next door. It was just dad. That was never an option. It wasn't economics or anything else like that. It was just he wanted to be home, and we wanted to honor that wish for as long as we could. For so many, they're maybe not aware of what could be available, the impacts that certain things could make. Now, you've done other things beside the chairlift. You've got elevators you've put in too, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
the elevator is a nice piece because it is not a traditional elevator. We're able to do traditional elevators, but more often than not, we're retrofitting homes. So it's not new construction. It's the house that mom or dad has lived in for 25, 50 years.
Yeah.
And we're able to find an area of the home, let's say 4.5 feet by, call it 4.5 feet to be simple. And we're simply finding areas that are stacked that we can put a hole in the floor and ceiling.
Oh.
There's no shaft, there's no elevator pit, and there's no machine room. So those three things are all very expensive
Right.
and invasive. So ours looks sleek. We compare it to like a grandfather clock or a hutch.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
corner. And
Yeah.
they're very sleek and a fraction of the price of a traditional elevator. And we're generally speaking in there for 3 to 4 days at the home.
Not bad. Not bad.
And then
to
they
get
have an
something like
operating
that
on.
done.
Yep. So yeah,
Okay.
we educate about those all the time. When, stair lift, they may be grateful that we've mentioned the stair lift, but getting in and out of that stair lift is just not feasible. It's not easy. It's
Right.
a challenge. Or some folks just want the convenience of that elevator situation.
Of course. Now, are you noticing any kinds of trends in your industry? I don't know how big the competition or what the
Yeah.
market's like for you.
Yeah.
What things have you noticed in recent years?
So trending is in a good way. We're starting to come around on some funding sources because we're able to scream this from the rooftops and try to make it a known commodity. We've had some partners join us in trying to get funding. So in Rhode Island, there's a nice state grant that reimburses 50% of just about everything we install, up to $4,500. And that's the Rhode Island Livable Home Modification Grant Program. It's a great program. We're trying to mimic it in Massachusetts, where I'd like to say we're at the finish line, but it's quite the race to have it become a law in Massachusetts as well. We have the exact same bill in legislation as well in Massachusetts, so we're excited. We've heard whispers that Medicare Advantage programs are going to start covering some things in years to come. That's a long journey, but we're hopeful. There's some national organizations that have brought a lot of us home access companies together, so they're able to be a voice as well on our behalf and have some government relations activity as well. As far as trends, as far as the products go, barrier-free. Barrier-free showers is the trend, and it's trending in the right direction. We encourage folks when they're asking us to remove their tub and put in a shower.
Yes.
What they're picturing is a step-in shower, walk-in shower with a curb, 4 or 6-inch curb.
Right.
What we're picturing is a 0-inch, barrier-free, roll-in shower opportunity. So we educate on the difference, and oftentimes that barrier-free option is the route. It's the one that, because you don't have a crystal ball, you don't know if one day you're needing someone to wheel you into the shower.
Right.
This week you don't have to start over. You're already done. But hey, you can step over that little 3/4-inch beveled edge all you want for as long as you want, if that's feasible. Yeah, that's a big trend lately, is the barrier-free.
Yeah, several months ago, I was visiting a client in South Florida, and I'm at a hotel in the shower, and I just turned and wing, it flipped right off the side, and I felt like I broke my leg. I'm like, this is how people break their hip.
Yes,
I mean, I was okay, but I didn't feel good for quite a while. So I could see I could see that. You see those in hotels a lot. Zero entry, right? Especially if you're on first floor kind of rooms, right? That makes sense. So are you kind of getting all the way to the new construction communication, the builders, or any of those types of folks?
Absolutely as well. Yes, we love collaborating with builders because it's the design phase. that we want them to meet us, 99% of the time, they bring us in the audio visual stage, the add-on stage, the when it's already framed and it's that they think we're the finished work. I'll tell you a quick anecdote, a little story that just proves my whole point of these builders, if anyone's listening, call us on the design phase. So we were brought into this 62 unit development, that these 2-story townhomes, there's 62 of them, this beautiful piece of land. The builder came to us and found out about our stilts, our elevator. And they said, oh, great, we love your elevator. We've come pretty far on these projects. We'd love to offer your elevator for every one of them before we open them. And we said, okay, let's go check out the site. So we checked them out and we said, okay, great. Lovely townhomes.
Yes.
We can put this with the foundation that was poured, with the walls that were framed and finished in all of them. We had 2 spots in the entire home that we could install those post-retrofit elevators. And we compare this, it's a $40,000 bill from us to the builder. The builder could charge $60,000, $70,000 for this thing on the end because they're selling the package.
Right.
They compare it to the awning package. They're like, we can make this just like do they want the $40,000 awning or do they not? Now, if they had called us in the design phase.
Right.
My partner said to me, he goes, just with a different foundation, with walls just in a few different spots, he's like, these folks, each of these buyers would have 6 to 8 potential locations for this unit. In my opinion, it's probably going to sell more of them for the builders. Because otherwise they're like, it's either in this closet or this side room. Or it's here, or it's here, or it's here. Because of the way things are stacked.
Right.
The way one room is in, and very simple changes. It would have been a few clicks on the architect's side. Whereas now it's there's this 1 spot or 2 spots.
Yeah. It doesn't look like it was thought through, even though the builder might be suggesting it. It wasn't thought through. It wasn't part of
They didn't know about the elevator options until they didn't know that there was such a simple elevator option there. If we want to be involved in the design side, we don't even charge you for the consultation and design. It's only if they wanted to get them actually installed. So we will be doing a few elevators there, but we likely would have been able to do a lot more for that builder had there been more options for that. So vertical platform lifts, things like that get brought into play as well with the, hey, just come talk to us on the front end. But it's all about, I blame myself. They didn't know about us. It's education. I should have been on an extra podcast that week. I should have made another social media post. You know, it's all, you can always do more.
That's all. You can always do more. Now, are you looking to go beyond those 3 states?
Good question. Right now,
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So right now we have the management model for a majority of Massachusetts, out about, let's call it an hour into Connecticut, and then all of Rhode Island.
Okay.
We've also created a franchise model, a franchise package that is available outside of those parameters. We now have a New Haven location, so we're able to cover, with the OHA brand, we're able to cover all of Connecticut. Okay. We're also able to cover all the way up to New Hampshire north because of a greater Boston location as well. Now, from there, we are growing and offering these franchises very, very cautiously.
Right.
We want it to be someone from the healthcare or construction field leading the way. They already have one of those, absolute vital portions covered. And then we have a clear package of who to hire, who to marketing package. You can imagine the robust package we have. So that is our growth plan. Strategic though. We're not going to try to, have 200 of these, next year. We want to be very cautious because it's the who and then the just important, the who, the why. The what's their motivation. If it's to line their pockets and get a cozy nest egg for retirement, it's got to be, that's fine. We're a business. We are making profit, but it's got to be for the right why. It's got to be because they have empathy and they want to truly help people.
That's right. That's right. You're making a difference in people's lives, and you get involved in a game that you play in life, but you look at people go into healthcare, and underneath all of that, whatever that direction of healthcare, it's to help people. That's to live better lives, and to be able to not only you're looking at extending one's care. Again, I'm a PT, right? So background, right? So you might see a patient for 12, maybe 15 visits, and then they're off on their own. Sometimes you just go, I don't even know if I can get in the house, right? And that's the end of the relationship. But what you're created and what you're doing is you're providing a way for those people who might just need a little bit more support to get to that next level, and you're providing that for them. They don't end up rolling back into the hospital or worse because it wasn't there, or someone kind of expected their son to put it in, or, or call a handyman and have him or her come out, and you're putting that problem onto the patient who really is trying to convalesce if possible, or actually they're just not capable. And I think
It's not
that's
fair to the handyman or handy person, because they don't know where things are supposed to be, and why would they know the why behind all of it?
That's right. That's
it's
right.
outside of their scope.
That's
not
right. Absolutely. So if you look at like what you've had, the biggest barrier that you've had to overcome to get where you are today, what would you say that's been?
Barrier. I'd say on the front end, years back, it was the buy-in and the trust, because I thought I had the cure for cancer. I thought, okay, once everyone finds out about this, the phone's just going to stop ringing. So it was building that trust, and the grab bar job led to the ramp job and the slow growth. Other barrier is funding. Before the grant in Rhode Island, there were a lot of folks that could not afford our stuff.
Right.
And then now when we walk into the home with a 50% coupon, essentially, or rebate is more accurate, that's allowing a lot of folks to get this stuff done that otherwise would not do it. I mean, we have folks go through the grant for a $200 grab bar, and because $100, it wouldn't have been done.
That's right.
I mean, people are doing it for $8,000 ramps, getting $4,000 back, but we're just as passionate about helping the $100 grant as well. So funding's a big barrier for a lot of folks. So we just go above and beyond and just try to find any type of funding source that will help.
That's fantastic. So what kind of advice would you give to other entrepreneurs that could help them do better, live the way they would wish to live, provide what they want to provide? What advice might you give someone?
So if you find something, and so you're talking about therapists that are looking to do something, anybody
your business noggin, like what advice might you give someone?
Yep. So I would say, if you're passionate about something and you're confident that you've got something, then it's gonna take time, and to be willing to fail. It's okay to fail, but it's not okay to fail and not learn anything from it.
Correct.
Fail, get up, do it again, but adjust and pivot.
Right.
You might end up in a whole different industry because of your pivots, but it all started with your core beliefs, mission, and passion. Absolutely. So I'd say, fantastic. I don't want to say don't give up, because hey, sometimes you can make a conscious decision to pivot to something else, and you could look at that as quitting or giving up, but it's making a conscious decision and checking all the boxes before doing that.
You have purpose, which is that fuel. It's the gas for the engine, right? And when you don't have that, then there's other motivations. So you have purpose, and then you go, well, it's money. It's like, okay, well, that's a form of a purpose, right? But something that you get up every morning, you know that you're making some kind of a difference. You can actually bring other people in on that particular point of view. But one of the things I'll sometimes say, Justin, is that you only have to be 51% right to make it. The bigger thing is you can't be afraid to be 49% wrong. And I think that's where a lot of people, the difference between an entrepreneur and a wannabe entrepreneur is the wannabe just doesn't get off the couch, right?
Talked about it. Yeah.
But he's not willing to fail. And if you're willing to fail, it's not like you're trying to fail, but if you're willing to fail, you'll take risk. And if you're not willing to fail, you won't start. So that story of courage of sorts and follow your passion is very true. And I'm so impressed with what you've been able to create. And I'm in the kind of the Tampa Bay area, and I'm not haven't practiced in 20 years, right? So I'm not on those connected lines. But even when I was in practice in Cincinnati, I wasn't familiar with anyone that was doing anything like this. Congratulations to you, right? To Oakley Home Access. But now, how would people find you? Okay, they're like, okay, so give me your contact data. Let's get that all out here.
Yes, so very active across all social media channels. LinkedIn is how we found each other. LinkedIn is an incredible network for healthcare professionals, construction experts, every industry can connect through LinkedIn. So we have a business page, Oakley Home Access LinkedIn. I have my personal page, of course. Oakley Home Access Facebook page is very active, a lot of DIY tips. So the way I break it down as far as audience, LinkedIn, it's the professionals, the ones that want to find us for their people. We can help their people. The Facebook, it's the adult children that are looking out for their parents and grandparents. And then, Facebook, maybe the elderly themselves are on Facebook. The folks that actually could be benefiting from the products are on Facebook. Instagram, very active. That we're targeting grandchildren and healthcare providers, young therapists that are hip, trendy, but really care about people and want to find resources. Okay.
Absolutely.
Our website, oakleyhomeaccess.com, very active website, a lot of funding sources, a lot of resources, a lot of services. I don't want to pigeonhole it to just, Rhode Island, Mass, and Connecticut. We have national visitors to our website, national outreach, because we have a national network of similar providers like us.
Yes.
So almost weekly, we'll get someone from Alabama or some other part of the country saying, is there another company like you in North Carolina or wherever they may be hailing from? And we say, well, we have a national organization, VGM. I just happen to have their koozie, their little coaster right in front of me.
Yeah.
And they have home access professionals all over the country that are vetted and passionate on somewhat level like me, and they can help them. So anywhere you are, we like to be a resource. A lot of national funding sources and resources are listed there as well. So yeah, the website, oakleyhomeaccess.com, very active, and we welcome anyone to take a look.
Fantastic. So Justin, thank you so much for taking the time to be on this with us. And I wish you and your company and your future to be brighter than ever, and the lives that you touch to be even more and more profound than ever.
Sean, thank you so much for having me to talk a little about the company, and best of luck with all of your endeavors in this great show.
Thank you so much.